freaking love Christmas. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Hello friends, my name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for this video because I honestly don't do TBR videos and actually stick with them. Majority of the time I make them. I made a TBR video earlier in the year and only followed half of the books. I did one for the reading rush and only read one book, but I thought we would give it another go because I'm feeling somewhat confident in myself for this readathon. My good friend Emma, I've been speaking with her a lot recently and she's such a sweetheart, also known as Perfect Paperbacks, is teaming up with her co-host Merritt, and I am so beyond excited. In case you couldn't tell from the title already, it is called the Cozy-A-Thon. And I am not typically very good with readathons. Like I kind of already mentioned, I don't tend to read a lot. I forget about reading. I also forget to vlog the experience, all those kinds of reasons, but I'm feeling pretty confident because the way they've set it up is really fun and you can kind of set reasonable goals for yourself, so you're not super duper ambitious unless you want to be, which I really like because my reading life, especially since university has started, has not been the greatest. But I can't wait to talk about the books I'm going to read and just how the readathon works. So there are 3 teams you can be a part of, each with different prompts, and the teams are kind of in the theme of the book / movie A Christmas Carol. There's team of Christmas past, of Christmas present, and then of Christmas yet to come, I believe. I am going with the last one there of Christmas yet to come because I think the prompts kind of fit the books I already kind of want to read anyways. And so that's why this readathon for me is going to be super great. I will link all the information down below, of course, for everything. But I think for me it's going to be super great because there's already a select couple of books I wanted to read, and this kind of gives me an excuse to read them and also be accountable for my actions. So without further ado, enough blabbering from me, let's jump into these prompts and the books I will be reading. So prompt number 1 is to read a book with red or green on its cover. Now the book I have picked for this reading prompt is probably my most ambitious pick for this TBR, and it is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. And the reason why this is probably going to be my most ambitious read, look how many pages are in this book. It is unreal. It is almost 700 pages, potentially one of the longest books I've ever read. I'm not sure how long The Goblet of Fire is, but this probably is very close. It's very intimidating just to look at, so I'm not really sure, but I read earlier this year, a couple of months ago, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then A Court of Mist and Fury, and became obsessed with The Court of Mist and Fury, and I'm genuinely so excited to see what else happens in this books. I know there are some recognizable problems with Sarah J. Maas, but my hope is that she will take the feedback and use the feedback she got this year to make her next books better. If she doesn't, I don't really know what else to say for her then, but I'm just hoping she fixes her actions. So in the meantime, I am pretty excited to read this book. I absolutely am obsessed. It's one of the best books I've read this year, A Court of Mist and Fury, and so I really want to know how the trilogy ends. It's been a few months since I read it, so I don't remember all of the details, but I think I remember enough to get the gist of where the story starts. I also did read the first 100 or so pages until I just put it down because school was starting, but I am very, very excited to read this book finally. So as we can obviously tell, there's a lot of green on the cover of this book, so hence I decided to choose this one, and I'm thinking that this book is probably going to be the one I pick up after my final exam, which my last final exam is on the 17th of December, so that way I can just fully commit myself to this gigantic book. I'm not going to say too much about what the series is about because this is the 3rd and final book in the trilogy, but the first book basically is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, very loosely redone on Beauty and the Beast, but basically we follow Feyre. She kind of runs her family almost. She's the one that goes hunting to get them food, gets them money, and basically one day in the forest she is hunting and kills a wolf who actually ends up being a fairy. And in this world, humans and fairies are like great enemies, and what ends up happening is since Feyre has killed a fairy in disguise, there is a rule that she has to now trade her life and go live with the fairies for killing one of their own. And so she goes, meets this dude named Tamlin. Maybe there's some sparks or not, who knows, maybe some political things going on, but either way, pretty interesting storyline. That's enough about this book, moving on. Next up is to read a book that is a 5-star prediction. And once again, I am going with a book I started but did not finish just because of school starting, which I deeply regret because I was very excited about it. But I am predicting this book to be 5 stars, and it is Where Dreams Descend. This book just sounds so good, and for lovers of magical competitions or Caraval, I believe this book was described as Caraval meets Phantom of the Opera, which hello, sounds amazing. So I cannot wait to read this book. I got about 100 or so pages in until I, like I said, didn't keep reading, but my friend Rachel, who is like one of my #1 people to go to for book recommendations, said other than Six of Crows, this is the only book she's ever wanted to give more than 5 stars to, and that's a pretty high rating. And the first 100 pages I read of this book was really, really good. Just didn't have the motivation to keep reading because of school starting, but I'm really hoping that with the nice cozy Christmas season, I get back into this magical story because it sounds so good. And I also got some really cool pre-order stuff, like a poster and tickets, so like I really want to put this up in my room, so I really want to like this book. I don't really know exactly how to describe this book, but I will link it down below in the description if you want to read the synopsis for yourself, or if you want to go into it blind, which is what I'm kind of trying to do. But it definitely is compared to Caraval, which is one of the best magical stories I've ever read, and I'm genuinely so excited for the next book to come out as well. And moving on. So the next prompt is to read a book written by an author of color, and I am going with The Bookweaver's Daughter. This book came out in September, and I've been wanting to read it for so long since it came out, and now I'm finally hopefully going to be. The reason this book originally stuck out to me is because I believe the author is 18 or 19 years old. I'm currently 18, and the fact that she has a published novel I just thought was so cool, so I really wanted to support. And the main theme of this book is to try to get some Indian mythology representation out there, and so I thought that was really, really neat, as well as many times in the fantasy genre there's not a whole lot of representation. Of course, things are moving in the right direction, but of course we have to support authors who make things like this, and so I really loved the concept. I loved her, I loved the concept, and the synopsis sounds really, really cool, and so I'm really glad that I'm finally going to be reading this book. It's actually a pretty short book, just around 250 pages, so I think this paired with a gigantic book like A Court of Wings and Ruin hopefully will let me balance out the stories a little bit and not overwhelm me too much. But I really love the colors on this cover. I'm so excited to read this book, and basically there's a whole lot of mythology in this. I believe there's a lot of female friendship and a lot of magic as well, and so I'm really, really excited to see where this story goes and if I love it as much as I'm hoping to. And next prompt. And the final prompt is a very basic one, but it is to read a book under a blanket, and so I just thought I could kind of pick any book I've been wanting to read. So I'm going with a reread of Shadow Frost by Coco Ma. I actually had the amazing pleasure last year to meet Coco Ma at one of her meet and greet events. She is genuinely the sweetest, one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and so I really want to read her new book, Godstorm, which is the sequel to this one, but I do forget all of the events from this book, so I want to read this first and then read Godstorm. I have this really, really nice signed page by her and a lot of other freebies she gave out, and she genuinely just seemed like such a happy, nice person. She's so successful. I believe she studies at some like really smart school, is such a great piano player. Like, oh my god, she is so cool. I aspire to be like her, and I cannot wait to reread her book because I remember loving it so much. I was in this like big reading slump, and this was one of the only books that actually interested me during that time, and so I'm really excited to jump back into this world and just enjoy it and hopefully love it as much or even more. And obviously, since all you have to do is read this book under a blanket, I will probably just be reading it in my room on my bed in the evening time, so it's gonna be a pretty easy prompt to follow, and I'm genuinely just very, very excited. Anyways, so that is all of the prompts for the team of Christmas Yet to Come, and there's other prompts for the Christmas Past and Christmas Present teams as well, but if you want to check them out or sign up for the Cozy-A-Thon Readathon for yourself, like I said, I will link all the information down below in the description for you to check out. But if you want to join me on the Christmas Yet to Come team, be sure to do so. I'm very, very excited, and I'm so excited to read these books and really hopefully enjoy them. I do have high expectations for all of these books, so I'm really hoping they pull through. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions for me about what I'm reading or the readathon, hopefully I can answer them, but definitely leave me a comment down below. One thing I will mention before we all sign off is that in the month of December, I have a whole lot of fun content coming up. I plan to post a lot of videos with some special guests, maybe talk about some cool things, have some fun. I will leave a little bit of mystery in the air, but definitely stay tuned for some fun things. But that is all for now, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. So until then, bye.